Hello, I'm Luke Popovich, Vice President of Communications for the National Mining Association. As you may know, recently President Obama unveiled his global warming plan at the UN conference in Paris. Also known as the Clean Power Plan, it calls for a 30% reduction in U.S. carbon emissions by 2030. This will come largely from shutting down coal power plants that generate about 40% of the nation's electricity, more than any other source. The plan will replace these low-cost power supplies with more expensive and less reliable sources of power. And there's the problem. Somebody's got to pay for these higher electricity costs, and that somebody is you. According to a new economic study by Energy Ventures Analysis, the President's plan will add $214 billion to the cost of wholesale electricity by 2030. In just 15 years, wholesale power costs will jump an average of 21% across the country, with 16 states seeing a 25% increase. That's not all. The study projects it will cost an additional $64 billion to replace coal power plants retired from this rule, a bill that will also be passed on to ratepayers. No wonder critics call it the costly power plan. These increases will show up in monthly utility bills and have a particularly devastating effect on low-income households. About half of all American families already pay close to 20% of their disposable income on energy-related expenses. There is just no room left in American energy budgets to pay for the President's plan. Even before its implementation, the plan had begun to inflict irreparable harm on the states. That's because as states submit compliance plans in advance of the rule's effective date, coal plant closings will result. Experts expect the loss of 41 gigawatts of power generation by 2030. That's enough electricity to supply about 24 million homes, almost 3 times the annual needs of Texas. Plant closings on this scale have already begun to trigger lost production, layoffs, reductions in state and local revenue, and threats to grid reliability. Industry experts say these are just the first of what are sure to be a cascade of harmful effects from the President's plan to transform the nation's power grid. Aside from the costs it will impose, some industry experts say the President's plan is simply unworkable. It relies on uninformed, unrealistic assumptions about gains in energy efficiency and energy infrastructure that he mistakenly thinks will replace affordable sources of electricity like coal. That's because the President relies on the Environmental Protection Agency to implement a major energy policy that is beyond the agency's technical expertise. As a result, the plan not only understates the cost to replace coal-based electricity with renewable energy and transmission infrastructure, it overstates the potential gains from doing so. The EPA admits there are virtually no significant environmental gains with this plan. It will reduce global temperatures by 0.016 degrees Fahrenheit. China emits more greenhouse gas in 1 month than EPA's plan would save in 1 year. In short, the costs are real, but the benefits of this plan are not. The good news is that states don't have to stand by and let the Obama administration steamroller their state's affordable electricity supply. As Indiana's Governor Mike Pence pointed out, no state is obligated to adopt this costly power plan. Already, more than half the states are suing in federal court to stop it, and both the houses of Congress voted to reject the plan outright. There are better ways to address climate change without damaging the American economy and actually have a meaningful impact on global warming. It starts with developing the technology that can make coal cleaner to use. After all, at the UN Climate Conference, the President heard that the rest of the world will be using more coal whether he likes it or not. For that reason, better technology for the world and not more regulation for the U.S. is the most effective approach for addressing climate change. Thank you.